Chapter 21. Did everyone have a good rest after the celebrations yesterday? Yes. The next day, Kishir summoned all the members who were visibly suffering from hangovers. Yudir was fine, but both Kana and Gakane on either side of him looked terrible. Yudir, you seem to have drunk quite a bit too, but you look fine. Why? Could that be your ability? Maybe it can be considered as such. Yudir could manipulate all elements of nature at will, was immune to the effects of alcohol made from water and grains. Only things that were artificially created, not naturally occurring in this world, could harm his body. I could get drunk on alcohol made by mixing monster's blood. However, that alcohol was originally made to poison someone. The fact that Yudir could not only survive but also drunk on it was something only he could manage. I remember being surprised to learn I could get drunk when someone apparently tried to kill me with it. I am really envious. I wish I had such an ability. As Kana muttered, Kishir from afar raised his voice and gently began to speak. I apologize to those who are still not feeling well from yesterday's revelry, but our first task has been assigned to the cavalry. 5 of you gathered here will pack up and leave with me today. A task? What could it be? 5 of us? At Kishir's words, whispers immediately spread among the members. Everyone, forgetting their hangovers, was excited. How could they not be? This would be the first time since the formation of the cavalry that they would officially reveal their presence. Regardless of the task, everyone wanted to be among the 5 chosen, and today Yudir was one of them. Could it be that the redstone retrieval operation was announced today, this soon? He vaguely remembered that they had retrieved the redstone after receiving the last name before, but he didn't remember it happening this quickly. Yudir hadn't been interested in such things before. The ones selected before were 2 from Shen, 2 from Sul, and 1 from Junk. He painstakingly recalled the vague memories of the past. At that time, Kishir had chosen those with somewhat unique abilities rather than those known for powerful ones. Those chosen had all signed a contract stating they wouldn't discuss what happened during the operation until they died. There had been a minor accident during the operation, but they had been successfully retrieved the redstone and returned. The accident that occurred back then made it known to the world that Kishir was chosen by the divine sword. Yudir was secretly disappointed that he wasn't selected at the time, and afterward he focused more on his training. When it was revealed that Kishir was the owner of the divine sword, it was merely someone else's business to Yudir. Later, he was constantly busy after being chosen again as the deputy commander of the Sul division. Suddenly, he had to take over the leadership and saw Kishir retire and return to the Duchy of Paleta. He had been so caught up in the whirlwind of events that he had no time to pay attention to the world sphere he thought was safely dormant in the sanctuary. However, following many subsequent events and the realization of impending disasters, Yudir felt the need to investigate the affairs related to the world sphere again, especially when he realized that he was the only one who knew about the heavy aura of destruction pressing upon the world. The reason was simple. To protect the world, power was required, and Yudir believed that there was nothing in this world as powerful as the world sphere, which was refined from the redstone. The problem was that the original power of the world stone had been severely damaged and nearly sealed due to the rough refining process in the Pearl Tower. The mages of the Pearl Tower had claimed they had merely carved impurities from the red stone, but the result was quite opposite. Even if he wanted to demand they restore it, the Pearl Tower had long since fallen. Yudhir thought he needed to investigate the situation when the world spear was simply a red stone and restore its original power himself. So I had belatedly investigated the situation from the discovery of the red stone to its recovery. But so much time had passed that it was impossible to know exactly what had happened. The only certainty was that all the cavalry members who had been chosen by the Kishar at that time had either retired and disappeared or died during their missions. He needed power, but he could find neither the means to obtain it nor those who had it. To make matters worse, Yudhir, who began to dig into the past to find the source of that power, was exposed to many suspicions and vigilance. Perhaps it had started then. The world Yudhir had built began to crumble. I am not sure what criteria Kishir used to pick the members back then, but if it's the same this time, there's a high chance it won't be me. If he wasn't chosen this time either, what should he do? Should he find Kishir and give him some sort of warning? While he was thinking about it, Kishir slowly began to call the names of those who would depart with him. Fin Eldor and Hin Eldor from Sul Division. Wow! Everyone was enthralled, but either was in shock. No, the names weren't those back then. It was definitely... Was it Isis and Eden? He seemed to remember those two being selected. They were nothing like the noticeable Fin and Hin siblings. Yudhir turned his gaze to Hin and Fin, who were sharing their surprise not far away. The blue-haired siblings, with their elf-like faces, had chosen Sul Division instead of Shin Division, even though they had the ability to strengthen their bodies, which puzzled everyone. In fact, the reason they chose Sul Division was simple. It was to develop another ability to move, which they could use only when they were together. Despite this revelation, many people thought their talent should be bloomed in Shin Division. Yudhir had thought the same, often assigning them to missions that required physical abilities. The mobility ability is useful but not necessary. They hadn't had their abilities awakened for very long, and the preconditions are tricky. Did he choose them knowing that? He didn't choose them before, so why now? Next, Kana warned of Jung Division. Me? Really? Kana looked around with a stunned expression. She was also someone who hadn't been singled out before. That's 3 people now who weren't selected in the past. If that's the case, the people to be called next might be completely different from before. Yudhir ignored the members, causing a stir around Kana, focusing solely on Kishir on the stage. His lips slowly opened. Next, from the Shin Division, Gakane Bulanwald and Yudhir Ale. The 5 of you pack light and come to me as soon as this ends. Yudhir Ale. His voice reverberated deep within Yudhir's ears. It can't be. We both got picked, Yudhir. Is this real? Gakane's voice sounded distant. Yudhir glanced at him briefly, then blankly envisioned Kishir's face that had disappeared, feeling the reality that the future he knew was changing. All 5 of us chosen are different from before, even me. It was fortunate that he no longer needed to seek a private meeting with Kishir. After Kishir's announcement and disappearance, The square where the members had gathered became a mix of those unable to hide their excitement and those disappearing with disappointment. Yudir found himself caught among those rushing over to speak to him, Gakane, and Kana. What's the standard? Congratulations, really. Make sure you complete the mission and return. You have to tell us what happened when you come back. They probably couldn't reveal what had happened due to a confidentiality agreement. But Kana and Gakane, who didn't know that, talked nervously yet excitedly. What are you thinking? Kishir or Yudir watched them, lost in thought. It wasn't easy to guess at Kishir's changed intentions. It didn't take long to pack. He didn't have much to begin with, and the only clothes he had were the cavalry uniform. When Yudir arrived on the floor where Kishir's quarters were located with just one small bag, he saw the rest of his companions who had arrived earlier. The luggage they carried was strikingly simple. Kana greeted him with a tense look, and just as Gakane was about to say something with a radiant smile, as if he had found light in the darkness, two small figures popped out beside him and spoke first. Hello, you're Yudir? You are the Yudir who stood alone in front of the Imperial Knights? Hin Eldor and Finn Eldor. Yudir saw the siblings again for the first time since his return. Their manner of speaking was as straightforward as ever, almost to the point of rudeness. In the past, they were among a few comrades who would talk to Yudir, whom no one else approached. Since their attitude unchanged from his memories, brought a faint smile to his face. Yeah. As Yudir looked down at them and nodded, the sister, Hin, stepped forward and introduced herself. I'm Hin. This one here is my brother, Finn. If it's hard to distinguish between because we are alike, just call us Eldor.